Hello and welcome back to my small little library. 2 weeks ago, I think, we talked about my favorite female main characters or characters in books, and today I wanna go the other way and talk about my favorite male characters. Let's start with the first one, and that is Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. I personally absolutely love Danny as an adult. This is the second part of The Shining, Dr. Sleep, and yeah, I have not the prettiest version to be honest, but yeah, in this one we follow Danny, or Dan as he's like to be called now, who is the child of the first book, but to be honest I don't particularly like child point of views, so I personally really love to get his adult point of view, and I think he's a character that goes through a lot of growth, especially considering his background with his father in the first book, and he obviously still has The Shining, and he has a lot of problems. He goes to the Anonymous Alcoholics, so to AA meetings, and he just tries to get his life back on track, and then life is like, you know, there come the beard people and you have to save everyone. And I think he makes a really likable main character, and I really like how, you know, he shows all of the sides that you want to see. You know, he shows his emotions, he works with like elderly people, he goes to AA meetings, he tries to just get his life back on track and kind of, you know, amend for some of the shittier things that he's done in life, because he has a lot of problems and he does rectify them through the book. And she's also a really conscious main character. Like, for example, in the story there's a girl who kind of starts talking to him over like telepathy, but she's a minor and he's really aware of the fact how that is like perceived by other people, and so yeah, that is kind of something that he is like incredibly aware of, and I really enjoyed that as a main character, so I feel like he's like a really great guy kind of. Okay, so the second character I want to talk about is the main character in Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Andy Weir does great characters. He does great science and great characters, but yeah, I feel like Rayland in Project Hail Mary just is a really special character, just because of his circumstances, because he's kind of stranded in space and he has to find a way back home because he sees like a really bad thing that will happen to Earth, and he kind of wants to, you know, make sure Earth knows what is happening so they can prevent kind of what's happening. And when he wakes up, he's alone because all of his other travelers with him died, so he's alone on the spaceship. And I feel like, you know, the character has so much strength because he's never really like, oh my god, I'm just giving up, like there's no chance for me to do this. He's just a really hopeful character, and I feel like he makes like the book reads so great because of how he's thinking and his constant like wanting to improve things and just tinkering and finding things out. I feel like he like really nicely shows all of that, and so yeah, I really enjoyed reading his character. Then a book I talk about far less than I probably should, The Sandman Chronicles. I don't know, The Sandman Omnibus is this one. This is part 2 because it was the easiest to get out of the shelf. But yeah, I personally love these books, and I don't know, he's such an edgy like character, but it's so funny. There's so much humor in here, and I kind of like his stoicism. He's really like, you know, not showing emotions and being just like, yeah, okay, but doing this. But he still does so many great things in these books, and obviously there are a lot more characters in here that also get their share of the story. But I just feel like he's such a fun character. I love reading about him. Maybe it helps that it's in like a graphic novel format, that I really enjoy his character. And I mean, in the end, he just really wants to help his realm and himself technically, but just, for example, his friendship with, oh my god, he has this friendship with a guy who lives like in like olden times, and I think, is it Shakespeare? It might be Shakespeare. Like he meets him and then he's like, oh yeah, I will see you in such and such amount of years, and the guy gets like to live forever for some reason. I think it's not Shakespeare. I'm not sure at the moment. It's some time ago that I read these. But they meet up again and again in the story, and it's just such a fun story, and I just like his like cold, not really cold, it's more like a I don't really care mood kind of, and I really like that. And I mean, he is the official emo gothic love child, you know, and he just really, really shows that. And I mean, if you've watched the show was great, the Netflix show. Like there you can see even more of that, but yeah, I just really like him. Don't really have that many reasons, I just love the character. And one I think is kind of funny, I chose this book. I could have chosen any of the ones in the collection. This is the Sandman is obviously by Neil Gaiman. Not that I'm forgetting to put all of the author names on here. But yeah, this is one of the books he's in. This is The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. I don't know why, but I absolutely love Rincewind. He never wants to go into trouble, and he always gets thrown into trouble, and he kind of tries to like, he doesn't really try to make anything right, and for some reason it just always kind of works out in the end. But I just love him. He's such a funny character. He's just, I don't know, at the beginning I thought I would kind of dislike the books about him, but they're so funny, and I don't know, just how everybody is like, oh my god, not Rincewind, you know, everybody's against him, because he makes everything go wrong, kind of. But in the end, everything always goes right, and he's just a really funny character. So yeah, The Light Fantastic is one of them. He is mainly the main character in the Unseen University collection. We do own more or less, I think, all of them. The Last Continent, for example, also really funny. The Color of Magic, one of my all-time favorites, because that is the one that I grew up with. The movie, the book, you know. I just really loved that growing up. And I think maybe that is why he's one of my favorite characters. Just in like The Color of Magic, Rincewind and the touristy guy just together are so funny. So yeah, everything goes wrong and everything goes right in the end. And I think it's just a funny story all in all, but I think Rincewind just makes it so much better because of his unwillingness to participate in the story, and he's still the main character. Let's come to one of the two Brandon Sanderson books we have in here, because I don't know, I feel like in all of these lists I always have to include Brandon Sanderson. The first one, I picked up The Hero of Ages here. Obviously it's the whole trilogy, or like at least book 2 and 3. But yeah, I think Eland is kind of a really, really great role model for everyone out there. I feel like he is like a really respectful guy, and he takes everything into consideration that's coming from Vin, and he tries to do best by her and best by the kingdom. And the fact that he's just this big softie who kind of tries to trick himself into thinking he's like something else than he actually is, and once he finds more like being himself and finds more out what he can do and what his abilities actually are, he gets the confidence, he gets to do more, but he still stays this kind-hearted guy who Vin fell in love with originally. And I don't know why, but I think he's like a really, really great rounded character. Just he feels great, you know, he has a great heart, but he can still take charge, but in his own way. He isn't like this trigger happy, you know, let's kill everybody. He's like really trying to do best by everyone, and even though he fails at times, he tries to learn from that and he tries to go on from that. So yeah, for me, Eland is like a really, really great character. He really started to grow on me, because obviously in book 1 he isn't like that big of a part of the story. Like he is, but like not from the beginning. Like he comes into the book at like the middle, and then he obviously gets to be a big part in book 2 and book 3 together with Vin. And yeah, I really like how his character evolves, but I like that he has just this kind heart, and he technically doesn't really want to hurt anyone. So the next one is kind of a funny one. It's The Starless Sea by Aaron Morgenstern. I don't know particularly why I love him so much, but I feel like he's one of those characters who just goes with the flow. And, you know, things are happening to him, but he's just like, okay, we're going with it, kind of. And I kind of like that. I mean, it's not like the deepest character, but I feel like it makes for a good story because of the concept of the story, because here we have like kind of a self-aware story, because he finds this book that tells his own story. And because of that, the going with the flow kind of fits really, really well. And yeah, I really liked him. Don't really have much other to say about him. Then we have the second Brandon Sanderson, because I just love Nomad. I love the kind of just his way of going from like this more like not cold-hearted person, but like he steels himself against like everyone else, and he's like, okay, I have to just work for me, make sure I get through this, because he's hunted and he kind of wants to, you know, leave. But then he realizes, oh my god, there are people that kind of need help and I may be able to actually help them. And so he goes from this like, no, I'm just thinking about myself, like I don't care about the people, to like caring really much about the people. And I just love him. He's a fun character because he has like this like outer shell of like, oh my god, I'm so fierce and I can do things, but in the end he's just like a really, really nice human being who tries to save everyone, even though it might come as a disadvantage to himself. And yeah, he's a great adventure. I love that book. And then comes the book with the most amount of my favorite characters. I cannot choose one of them. The Lord of the Rings. I watched the films over the weekend again. I just love a lot of the main characters in here. Aragorn, Legolas, Frodo, Pippin, Merry, you know, Sam. They are all great in their own rights, I feel like. Boromir, I understand his character, I don't like him as much. But you know, the characters like everybody else, Gimli, I just really love them. So yeah, this book is pretty much the book with the most, like my most liked main characters in there. And I don't know, it's a fantastic cast. And Gandalf, for example, also a great character. And I feel like everybody brings his own like personality to the table, but they all work so great together. And like just the whole thing of like friendship being like such a big part of the book. Like for example, when Merry and Pippin get stolen away by the orcs pretty much, the other one's not abandoning them but also respecting Frodo's decision that he has to go on alone and stuff like that. I feel like if you want to have like a good cast of like a lot of great male characters, The Lord of the Rings is the way to go. There are also cool and great female characters in there, but I feel like for like the female characters I had a lot of other books that I felt like really fit. But for like male main characters, I feel like The Lord of the Rings is just chef's kiss. I mean, how can you not love Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli and all of them? The Hobbits, you know, it's just, I just love them so much. They're such great characters, and there's, I don't know, all of the whole evolution of them throughout the story, and just like Gimli's and Legolas' friendship, I feel like it's chef's kiss, you know? It's the friendship between guys we want to see. And Aragorn just like, you know, stepping up to be the leader he's supposed to be. And then just Sam is just a sweetheart. Sam is just, you know, as the saying goes, he just goes into this adventure to get his wife in the end. But it kind of feels like it. But I think it's just, you know, if you want to have great male characters, you have to go to Tolkien. I just think that's the fairest thing to do. So yeah, those are the books that I feel like have like my favorite male characters. I obviously have a lot more books with male characters in them, but I felt like a lot of them didn't stand out like this, you know. These are the characters that I kind of think about every now and then, and that obviously a lot of these books I have read more than once, so they just stand out. And yeah, The Lord of the Rings is it's just my all-time favorite book. I just have to say it. It will always stay that and The Hobbit, just like my all-time favorite books. So obviously I just love the characters in there, you know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my favorite male main characters, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.